A man who promises to be the UFC's next big European star is in action this Saturday night in his hometown. Welcome into MMA Live Extra. My name is Todd Grisham. Conor McGregor in action in Dublin, taking on Diego Brandao in the main event of UFC Fight Night 46 this Saturday. To preview that fight, we welcome in from Las Vegas, Nevada, our MMA writer for ESPN.com, Brett Okamoto. Brett, thanks for joining us. This fight was originally going to pit Cole Miller against Conor McGregor, but Miller pulled out due to injury. What were your thoughts when you found out who his new opponent would be?
Well, it is a completely different fight now, really, for Conor McGregor. And Cole Miller, you got a tall, lanky 6-footer who's probably going to keep you on the end of your punches. And you look to use his submission skills. Very strong grappler. Diego Brandao, very different. Not much cardio in him. He's a guy who's going to look to put you away early. Lots of power in both hands, knockout power. But he's going to close distances. He's only about 5'7", not 6'1" like Cole Miller. So he's going to be in your face. Good submission skills, but and uses them in a very different way than Cole Miller. So it is a different fight for Conor McGregor, but I don't think that matters all that much to him. We've heard this guy say time and time again he goes into the cage without a plan. He wants to fight the type of fight that he wants, and he will adapt as necessary. So I don't think that Conor McGregor was too concerned that the opponent changed on him.
McGregor seems like the type of guy that would almost prefer this fight take place in a local Irish pub than in the octagon. Brando had a 3-fight win streak snapped in his last fight. What does he need to do to pull off the upset?
Well, Brando needs to close the distances. He needs to hurt Conor McGregor. I think he needs to finish this fight inside the first 2 rounds. Otherwise, it's going to go south quickly for him. We know that this guy does not have the best cardio. It's something that he has worked on over the years. It has been a concern of people of his. He's improved it somewhat, but he's not going to last in the 5-round fight against Conor McGregor, especially with McGregor's wrestling skills. We saw that Conor McGregor can wrestle in his last fight. He hurt his left knee in a fight against Max Holloway, started to take him down easily the rest of the way in that fight. I think if he does that to Diego Brandao, Brandao is going to gas out. He's not going to be the same fighter in later rounds. So look to go out there, hurt Conor McGregor early. McGregor is a guy who will play to that crowd. It's the first time he's headlining a UFC event.
I think I know the answer to this, Brett, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Who wins on Saturday night?
Yep, I think you know the answer, too. It's Conor McGregor. I like the way that he dictates range. This guy has a karate background. He's got a boxing background. He understands distances and movement very well. Brandao is a guy who does set up his punches somewhat, but he's not a guy who can outbox Conor McGregor on a consistent basis. If he doesn't land a big shot, I think he's going to get beat up. I think he's going to get taken down if McGregor does want to utilize a little bit of his wrestling. As long as McGregor avoids the big shot, I don't see a lot of ways that Brandao can beat him over there in Dublin.
Well, how close is McGregor from being a title contender in the UFC's featherweight division?
You know, he's still got a little bit of ways to go. He's only 2-0 in the UFC. If he wins this fight, that's 3-0, but Diego Brandao is not ranked inside the top 10. But this guy's day is going to come, obviously. He's one of the biggest stars, potential stars that the UFC has, whether you're talking about Europe or you're talking about the United States. People are very interested in him. He's coming off of a long layoff from that knee injury, but people remember him. They cared about him throughout. They were asking how he was going, how rehab was doing. So he needs to win against some elite guys. You know, you got Chad Mendes up there, obviously waiting for a title shot. Cub Swanson, Frankie Edgar, Dustin Poirier, Korean Zombie, Chan Sung Young, all those guys are still considered a little bit above Conor McGregor's level, but he's not far off. He's going to get a chance against one of those guys real soon.
Well, just like any sport, personality makes stars, and Conor McGregor certainly has plenty of star power in his reserves, but he's got to keep winning. We'll see if he can do it again on Saturday night. That's MMA writer for ESPN.com, Brett Okamoto, joining us here on this edition of MMA Live Extra. Make sure you keep it tuned to ESPN.com for complete highlights of what goes down on Saturday night in Dublin. Until next time, I'm Todd Grisham. Keep fighting.